Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday to you. This is Dr. B from Partner with Legacy. Thank you so much for joining us for our Legacy Ed News this Thursday morning, May 13th. It is the end of Ramadan and the celebration of Eid. So we are wishing those who, celebrate Ramadan peace and many blessings to you this morning. I know that several schools are closed. So New York City schools are closed today. New Jersey is also closed. And so we wish you and the community peace and blessings. I'm Dr. B from Partner with Legacy. Thank you so much for joining us for our Thursday morning Legacy Ed News. I'm excited. We have a dynamic young entrepreneur, Amber Peters from On Track with Mizz P, who will be talking with us about college and career readiness and what the pandemic has taught us about college and career readiness as it relates to our students. As always, you have a moment to call a friend and call a family member and tell them to join us. And if you're new to our community, thank you so much for connecting with us. Please make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. Why? Because we aim to bring you really great content that lets us know we're doing a good job at Partner with Legacy. And it helps Dr. B to break the YouTube glass ceiling, people. Don't think that there's not a glass ceiling out there. So help us to break it. I want to start off with just a couple of, quick news points this morning. I'm going to Alabama, not Selma, Alabama, but Montgomery, Alabama. So Montgomery, Alabama, the schools have opened up an online survey, so take a look. And they're seeking new names for 3 of their schools. The Jefferson Davis High School and the Robert E. Lee High School are 2 of the ones that they are seeking to rename because, as you know, they're named after Confederate soldiers. Montgomery has also done some things in terms of trying to remove monuments, but there's a 2017 state law that protects Confederate monuments. So do take a look and of the online survey put out by Montgomery Public Schools. I want to go to Montana and share some news in Montana. So the Protect the Falls, a citizen group this week submitted a petition to their governor against slaughterhouses in Montana. Now, why does this matter? Now, certainly I'm in the Bronx and we know the impact of the environment on asthma on our children. So they are petitioning around the health and wellness of their community. And the science also matters, people. So, these slaughterhouses use over 3 million gallons of water. So we need to think about our environment. Finally, I want to go around the world to Ethiopia, and the Ministry of Education has launched a broad plan to increase technology and access to technology for students in Ethiopia. If you don't know, Ethiopia has over 46,000 schools, and that's certainly compared to the US, who has about 130,000 schools. So we commend them for their continued effort to close the digital gap and to make learning accessible to all of their students within Ethiopia, given the diversity of culture and language and also needs. So I'm excited to have you with us this morning. So we're going to get right into our Legacy Ed News talk. I'm excited to know this dynamic young entrepreneur and Ms. Amber Peters. And I would welcome her from On Track Mizz P. So Amber, let me give you a chance to say good morning to our audience and to greet you and to extend peace and many blessings to you on this Thursday morning.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Eid. I'm hoping that everybody is going to get nourished and celebrate with family today and have a great day. Really excited about just talking about this and also talking with you, Dr. Selma. I love you so much, and I'm so excited to be here to talk about college and career.
And I love you too. And I'm always inspired by your work. And we're gonna definitely celebrate you because you've had some wins. You've been really pushing on the entrepreneur side and pushing to get your work known and the dynamic work that you are doing on behalf of our students and especially students of color in the area of college and career readiness. So first, tell us, Amber, tell us about On Track with Mizz P. So what is it that the services and the products that you provide?
So on track with Mizz P, we work with schools, organizations, and community partners to bring college and career readiness out there to their students and their parent populations. We love doing workshops. Like that's my sweet spot is the workshops. Also do some program design. So if you have no idea how to put your program together, I can help you do that. And also some training opportunities as well, because I do realize that a lot of times we don't train our people well around these processes, and they change like every single day, every single year, especially now that we're in a pandemic. Things have changed at least 4 or 5 different times since we've been, and it's what, a year so far? And it's changed that many times in a year. And sometimes people aren't really savvy to what's happening at the college campuses, or even thinking about career and engaging the students that may not want to go to college. So that's pretty much what we do here. We sell workbooks, worksheets, and also we have a great app called On Track for College, which I developed in 2017. That is like really picking up some steam. I'm really excited about it, really happy of the direction that it's going and how many students it's helping. Right now, we have about 300 active users right now. And we're looking to grow that. So our goal is to have at least 500 rising juniors, which will be seniors in the fall. We're trying to get at least 500 of them supported and helped throughout their senior year. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now.
So I want to slow that down a minute, because I know there's several of my principals and my educators and parents who are listening right now. So how awesome, right? That Amber has an app for you. So if you have a student who is thinking about college or not sure about the process, all they have to do is get on their phone. So first, Amber, tell us what the app is.
On Track for College is the ultimate college and career information app. We make sure that all the information is present through notifications. So we send out weekly notifications to students. We noticed that that was really helpful in them just navigating. A lot of times they don't really have people telling them what to do and when. And so the notification system is set up to do that. We have a flashcard system on there to show them like all the jargon that people expect them to know when they get on college campuses. It's like, I am 17. We don't talk about this in high school, but yet now I'm here on a college campus at 18, and I'm just expected to know all these big words like matriculation and bursar's office. I'm supposed to intuitively know what those things mean. So we have a flashcard feature for that. We also center all of the resources. So all the resources that I talk about in all of my workshops, when I tell somebody, hey, this is where you can find scholarship information, here, this is where you can find financial aid information. We literally have it all laid out for you so that you don't have to go combing through Google, going crazy trying to find what you need. And then finally, we have a breakdown of the information. We know how difficult this can be. We know that it's difficult to understand. So we broke down the information step by step so you know exactly what to do and when. And then you can try our checklist feature to keep yourself on track.
I love the app, Amber. I've actually used it with young people, and I'm constantly referring it to my principals. And it also has videos, and so you should also know that. So if anybody, so our audience, if you have a college student, or if you're working with a group of students and you're trying to figure out a program and an initiative to help our students become aware of college and career readiness, this is a very concrete tool, and it's just one of the many tools in Amber's suite of product and services. So I want to ask first, Amber, what led you to start Mizz P, to take that risk as an entrepreneur, to step into this space?
So I'll go back. I started off as a teacher. It didn't really call to me the way I thought it would, right? Like I saw the Freedom Writers and all these movies. I was like, yes, that could be me. I could go back to my neighborhood and do great, and realized it was very different than what I had in my head. So I noticed that my ability to build relationships with students was like key, right, to everything. That is how kids engaged with the work. That's how they wanted to do work in the first place. come here, Mizz P, can you help me with, can you help me with, can you help me with? And it got them motivated and confident. And a lot of them actually, because I taught a special ed classroom, they actually started taking regents early and these type of things that people did not think they can do. So I said, wow, I wonder if I can translate that into student advising. So when I left the classroom, I went into student advising and I loved it. But the gap that we had was that we did not know how to transition them into the next step. And so I took a college training course through Options Institute. Shout out to them. Gold standard training if you want to get trained. Went there, got trained, got a certificate in college counseling, brought it back, and was able to help a lot of students access college. The only problem was that in that student advising world, there's not much up that you can go. The further up you go, you kind of lose touch with the kids. Yes. And then you lose touch of their needs. And I didn't want that. So going into consulting and being able to support students directly and being able to like do workshops with them directly was like the thing that I needed to do in order for me to actually grow as an educator and grow within the field of college and career readiness. So for me, it was the step I needed to take. And I had to step out on faith and figure it out. But I had a lot of people who were like, hey, I'll let you come practice with my kids. Come do your workshop here. And it actually worked out. And I actually found that I had a real knack for doing workshops, for engaging young people, for helping them to think differently about their lives and also how they think about themselves. So that's pretty much how I got started.
That's a great story.
I'm sorry, I want to go back to the app just for a second. The app came out of me being an actual college counselor on the ground floor and having kids ask me the same 31 questions all the time. So I just took the questions, broke them down into videos, and then put them on the app. That's pretty much what happened.
That's awesome. And that is the gem of entrepreneurship, right? That you have to be a good listener. You have to focus on the how may I help you, and you will also helping yourself. You're absolutely right. So if they're asking the same questions and being able to be intuitive and innovative to say, why not have this app available to students and to families as well. I think we make the assumption when I think about college and career readiness, Amber, and I want to hear what you think the gaps are or why we may not be doing it as well. I think most of our schools are we design and pigeonhole individuals into titles. And so we say, you're the college advisor, you're the guidance counselor. And it makes it seem like if the weight of getting this child to college is on that of the college advisor. And it really is not. It's everybody's job to get this young person and this, to college and to career and beyond. And so if we don't begin to shift our mindsets, right, about being pigeonholed in these individual roles and in the individual silos, then we're really not doing college and career readiness. So what do you think? What do you feel like if are the barriers that prevent or keep our schools from engendering a college and career readiness culture?
I agree with everything you said, and I believe that sometimes we forget that it does take a village. And I've been in schools where I am the only one who knows anything about college. And so they don't feel like, people don't feel like helping because they're like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, right? So it becomes a community affair where we have to kind of train each other up and be okay to do that. I was able to train some folks on some financial aid stuff and was able to train them on stuff that I'm doing with the kids. And even like something as simple as like how to ask questions to really bring out some of the information that you need from kids was very helpful to get myself some help. So my last year as an official college counselor at a school, we lost a lot of staff. And so I had to use the people that were around me to help, right? So I had a health teacher who was like in it, like, let's go. What do you need me to do? What do you need me to ask for? Right. And then our program director, what do you need? What do you need me to ask for? What kind of paperwork are you looking for the students to do? I can work on it with them when I have a break. And I think that actually works better because people don't realize how big, especially a school counselor's job, Like as the college advisor, I didn't have half as much work as the school counselor did, but that
Yeah.
school counselor literally can be drowning, right? In a sea of paperwork. They have to write letters of recommendation for almost every single student. They have to talk to the student about what it is
Yes.
they want to do and give them options. They have to be the person who gives them the resources. But how much better would it be if there were other people in place that can help take the load off of that person so that person didn't have to do it all by themselves? And I see tons of schools out there that are doing the work that way. Maybe an advisory, maybe the advisory teacher can be leading the conversation. They don't have to do all the ins and outs of the college process, but to get them talking about what they want to do, helping them start their narrative essays and things like that can happen within that class, so that when the college counselor or the school counselor steps in, there's minimal work to do. So I think a lot of it is just like we don't work as a community. It's like the school counselor, that's what they do. The teachers do
Yes.
this. And we have to start looking outside of ourselves and say, how can we help? Right? Our whole fundamental job is to make sure that the kid gets to the finish line. That's everybody's job. That's not just the school counselor's job.
I think, though, the question of the finish line is important. And I fully agree about this community and village approach. And for our schools, and every school, you've got staff members. You went to college, and the message should be, I went to college, and so will you. And I just think that the paradigms or the structures that we've been set up of you're the math teacher, you're the English teacher, and only owning your content, not owning the relationship that you have with your students, right? Because what's the point of you doing, all of that geometry, all of those other things? The goal really is to get this student, like you mentioned, to the finish line. And so we've got to shift the culture around the testing, the culture around the nature of relationships with students. And you're absolutely right that college guidance counselor is extremely overwhelmed. And when we think about policies, when we think about what we need to ask for as a community, we need to start saying that certainly one guidance counselor is absolutely not enough. If you're in a school with 100 kids, that's 100 applications, plus however many parents. And children who are reluctant, reluctant as well. I'm always surprised. Well, not necessarily surprised when we ask kids, what do you want to do next? And they say, I don't want to go to college. Well, it's often because they've never visited a campus. They may be the first, to go to college, and it's fearful, right? It's a lot of fear about being in this very adult world and in this adult space. So if we don't take the time to talk to the kids, the one guidance counselor cannot do it all. So for our parents and educators who are listening with us today, know that if you want to change college and career readiness, if you're doing the work, you now have to get everyone to buy into that. It's everybody's job to get this young man and this young woman, to college and beyond as well. In terms of the pandemic, Ms. P, you ready to go there? Let's ask the question. So people have mentioned that there, certainly the pandemic in terms of the virus, the pandemic in terms of racial equity and the digital divide. You've been doing this work for some time, and so have we. We've been in the business now. This is going on 12, 13 years that Partner with Legacy has existed. So it's not new to us. So welcome to the field, everybody. And we want awareness, but now we want to really think about engagement. So what would you say? Let's do one at a time. One lesson that you think the pandemic has taught us about college and career readiness. And she's Wu-Sign, right? And so am I, because
this year
we don't have enough time today to do all of it. But that's where this conversation is getting started. For those who are listening, thank you for joining Partner with Legacy. Be sure you like and subscribe. And we will tell you, Ms. Amber Peters is with us today talking about college and career readiness, and she brings a wealth of experience on track with Mizz P. So, Amber, what would you say? What is first one lesson? Let's do one first.
One lesson is that students need support at both the college level, because we saw a lot of disengagement. And I get it. If you're working from home, it's hard. I get it. But the students were missing a lot of like key resources on campus. Like when they got there, they felt like kind of like dropped.
Absolutely. You're being kind. They were dropped.
They were
It's
dropped.
disheartening to
They
think that
were
I'm
dropped.
on a college campus and I pay, right? Now this is now you're the client. It's, that's the difference also, parents, right? You're thinking, okay, if I did a public institution for 12 years, and yes, I am now in a college environment, and this is also, yes, it's an economic institution, and your faculty members get to just not even show up on camera, just put up a PowerPoint or whatever it is for you and not check on you, right? Like we're all listening to the
That
news
part.
about human loss and loss of lives. And so how can you not check on your students? And I know, the stories vary. I have a wonderful team, and, they share, this piece around, what happens to the college student who may have lost their mother who was working in healthcare, who, may have lost their father, whoever it was, their loved ones, and now you're trying to make it through the year. And so it's rhetoric. So I'm willing to, I'll say the tough ones, Amber. You don't have to. Dr. B will.
That is completely
It's
right.
horrible.
It's really disheartening. And I've had a lot of students, so like on the other side of what I do, I also support with programs that are doing incredible work like Gear Up, and also like a College Bridge for All, where they literally have people, we're training college students to do the work that I do. And working with those college students, they're working with first year students. You know how many of those students were like, I couldn't figure out my financial aid issues because nobody picked up the phone. I sent at least 10 emails, nobody picked up. I did everything that I possibly could. And so now I can't go to my second semester, my spring semester, because these issues are not resolved and there's nobody to help me resolve them. And then even before they even get to the campus, there's just a lot of information that was missing. I asked about, freshman year experience, because that used to be a big thing. They were like, it was kind of like a joke. Like some classes were really good, some classes really like you had somebody who was really like, here's what you need to know, but it's not always like a standard that should have been. And I thought they would ramp up supports because it is college in the middle of a
Right.
pandemic. But
Well,
that didn't
what
happen.
what people don't understand is that the university is not organized for students, it's organized for professors and for tenure, right? So it's about the professors and what they, choose to vote for. And it's leadership as well. And you're absolutely right. If you were just doing it perfunctory, if you were just doing freshman day and those experiences, and not, yes, there are staff members who buy into it, but the true culture of learning was revealed during this
Oh
pandemic.
yeah.
What people truly valued by way of relationships, and whether or not you valued your students. I'm an educator. I've been in the classroom all my life. There's not been a single year in my life, probably maybe when I was, 1 year old or 2 year old, but I had a mother who was very much about education. So home was the first classroom. So if we as educators are called to this profession, and this is our love, and this is why we're here, then this was our time to step up and to shoulder up and to show up for our students. And yes, we know that there are members who did, but far too many individuals took this as an opportunity to check out. And yes, I know you're also in pain as the adult, but what a missed opportunity to have that honest conversation to your students and say, I'm not sure how to do this year. I'm not sure, how to go about this, but I'm not just going to go through the checklist of you have to write 5 papers and go watch this video and never turn on, don't turn on your camera, and you're a professor. I'm not even touching K-12. That's a whole other monster. That's a discussion certainly about our profession and professional standards as well. But at a university level, how can a freshman, or how can any student have started the year and without an adult
Yeah.
there to support them
Yeah.
in a critical time period? So I certainly saw that as the lesson. Now, whether or not we would take the lesson, do you feel like, if, based on your work, with students, and I have to say that to you, thank you for championing and being a champion for our students, and and developing them as young leaders, right? So that's why I'm always hopeful, even though I'm honest and authentic, I am always hopeful because of Amber Peters and the young, entrepreneurs that I have the opportunity to connect with, because you're doing the work with that future generation. So as you look ahead, Amber, what do you see by way of, next year? What do you feel like if what may it look like in September 2021 when college is open?
Because do you want to talk about the mess that is happening now with registration?
Yes, the hot mess that's happening now. I'll call it what it is, Amber. It's okay. That's why we were here today. And that's why this is Partner with Legacy. This is Dr. Selma B. Everybody knows I keep it honest, I keep it authentic, and we want to keep it real, right? I'm not trying to, we don't try to sugarcoat it. We are looking for solutions. So the first solution is, if you're listening, if you're a parent, you need to contact Amber Peters. We'll tell you where to find her. You need to find her app, because there are people doing the work. But yes, let's talk about the mess that it is.
Yes, that is registration. So there's a lot of schools that are have shut down their registration process because they don't really know what fall is going to look like. I know there was a particular school system that shouted out that schools would be open and then it's time to register, and they had to shut down registration systems because they don't know what's hybrid, what is in person, what is online. And so that makes it messy for students who are already some people are at the cusp of graduation. They're really thinking about what their last steps are. There are students who are just starting, right, who are so excited about having their first class schedule, and now that's delayed. And we know what happens. We know summer melt is a real thing for especially when you think about students in their 12th grade year that are transitioning to college. A lot of times, because they don't have those supports in place, or they don't know when things are happening, there's not a lot of communication going back and forth. They kind of lose out on opportunities to actually sit for their college classes in the fall. And so I'm really worried. I really am worried, because we're already down in college enrollment across the nation, right? Not just here in the city, across the nation.
Yes, they've opted out.
Is down. And so when we have all these other barriers in place, I'm wondering what the fall 2021 class would look like. How many people will decide, hey, actually, you know what, y'all still too messy for me, I'm gonna wait it out. Because I do know families directly that were like, hey, until they can figure this out, my kid will be getting a certificate at this program. Yes. And we'll see if you guys get it together. And if you get it together, I can think about paying all this money to an institution for my child to go to school. Because we forget that you have to pay for this. It's not free. It's not a free service. It is not K-12 all over again. You actually have to pay into it. And to make people feel more comfortable, we have to ramp up some support. We have to make sure kids know where things are and know how to complete their next step paperwork so they can be in class for the fall 2021. We have to do all of that work, but for some people, it's just not happening yet. And I'm hoping, I'm hoping that, with the influx of just technology, and there are some initiatives being started by DOE and things like that, that they're getting better at messaging and letting students know when things are happening. But ultimately, it's a bigger game at play that we really need to fix. The whole system.
The technology doesn't replace people. The technology is a tool. No, and so you have tools. So absolutely, we want an investment in tools, but this is really about people, and this is about leadership and doing the work now to help people understand that their job is to be mentors, and if it's not for you, then move on, because the education profession, our work matters, and what we do is unprecedented in the lives of children, and it's generational. And so for students to not have access, and it's not every school, people. It's the schools that are servicing Black and brown children, right? It's not every school. There are plenty of schools that have handshake and they have college and career things happening, but enough of our schools did not stand up in the gap and did not embrace, right, the technology. And so we're talking K-12, But I think, just to exist and say, well, I'm a professor, same thing, right? I get to just deliver my course and my content. And what is the mission? What is your mission? Because if your mission was not to transform lives and to create new opportunities for students, and if it's just to do a degree, which is sad, right? We have so many students who also just get a degree because they majored in something, it sounded good, but in reality, this was not their purpose, not their passion. So on one hand, I'm thankful in one case, for every discomfort, because it allows us to see the gaps and allow individuals to see that the lack of supports were not there, but there were so many people, right? For those who did make it, but there were a lot of children who were not making it to college, not feeling supported, not feeling connected to the community. And we call it opting in and opting out. So this is certainly an opt out for far too many of our students, and we cannot afford to lose them. And we need to inspire them and to keep them on track, right? To keep them moving to the direction of opportunity and access. So I am hopeful that the systems that serve our children, especially our communities of children of color, will get their acts together and to make the registration and make the supports more visible. And it's first people. It's not anything. It's not the tools. There are plenty of schools who know how to register somebody online. It's not that. You have to have a relationship with somebody. You have to now do small groups, and a lot of I want to get to the policy piece with President Biden. He has talked about making community colleges for free.
I am hoping that he is going to stick to that, because we're still waiting on the student loan relief, just saying. But I would love it if community college was free. I think other countries do this well, right? Other countries are able to let this next step be free.
I'm pushing back, Amber. I want to know what they've done to earn free. I mean, I get it that our kids deserve a degree, but our community colleges, the graduation rate is 10 to 15%. So what have you done to earn the right to say that you get free? I want our kids to get the money. Give them the money, that they get some options to go and spend that money on places that are successful, but you were not succeeding to begin with. A 10%, 15% graduation is not success, right? Let's just be honest about it.
Account for a transfer rate. So a lot of times with community college, we forget that students will transfer out. Students start at community college and they look at it as a step up to the next thing. They don't always wait for the associate's degree. So we forget that. So when we look at their graduation rates, it's not always the associate's degree. We also have to look at how many kids are transferring out to their four-year institutions. Maybe they had a spark and they're like, okay, now I know what to do. And so that they move on, they get the grades that they need, and then they move on, which is kind of like what community colleges are for. But
but then the four-year graduation rate, see, come on now, Amber. Now the four-year graduation rate turns to 6 years.
I can't talk about the four-year.
Dr. B is being real with you. I'm being real with you, Amber, and to our audience, and we're coming to a close, but we've got to be honest about, right? I agree that we need the financial incentive, yes, but no open purse here. You have to prove that you've been doing the work and that you're going to do something different for our children, and you're going to build them up and give them the small groups and give them the instruction that they need in order to be successful. Yes, okay, fine, when they transfer to the four-year, but the graduation rate at the four-year schools when they do go in is not 4 years. They're not graduating on time, it's 6 years.
Because we need support. And that's the thing that's missing. It's when you really think about the whole process, I've had kids who are like, don't know if this thing is for me. You get people who have real family life issues that there's no real support for. There are counseling centers on campus and things like that, but sometimes people don't really understand how to really use that to help them to get out of the situation that they're in. So there's not a lot of education and support around even how to use the resources that are available to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even know that the resources exist. And that's
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
to me also. You exist to help this particular student, but that particular student has no idea that you're even there.
Because it's just perfunctory, and and like I said, I'm all for policy, right? Policy makes a difference, but earn it. To me, I do not want our students overwhelmed with debt and debt burdens. I fully know what that is like. So yes, I want to make sure that they don't have the debt and the debt burdens relief, but I want the accountability, because they've broken the trust. If I have a student and you're not graduating, or you're not being supported, then what have you done to earn this, this free? Okay, fine, we'll allow you to to have the 2 years, but we want to know that you're going to be successful and that you're going to be supportive, and that they're also going to invest also in faculty, right? So many of the community colleges, they don't hire Black and Brown faculty members. They don't hire the individuals that they need. They keep them as adjuncts. So it's a deep institutional issues. And I think we have to raise the questions now and not just be like, oh yeah, that sounds, yeah, that's really great. No, let's ask the questions and let's be authentic and honest about where the money is going. Amber, will you tell our audience where to find you and remind us again of the app when they search the app? So first, where do we find you?
So you can find me on Instagram or On Track with Mizz P, 2 Z's, put some respect on my Z's, please. So On Track with Mizz P, all one word. You can also find me at my website, www.mizzp.nyc. Yeah, those are the best places to find me. You can also download my app, On Track for College. We're actually ramping up some stuff. I'm going to be doing a whole big course that I'm going to release hopefully before the beginning of the fall semester, which is going to be like an A to Z. Like, I'm really thinking of our students and like all the questions that they ask and all of the bits and pieces, the things like even scanning a document. I didn't even realize how heavy that would be for a young person right now, especially if they live in a home where they don't have access to a scanner or they don't have a printer at home and they would usually go to school to do these things. Even down to simple things like that, how to write a money order, how to write a check, like these things that they really want to know, that they need to know for their processes. I'm going to do a start to finish that will be released on the app. And yeah, so have lots of stuff going. Make sure you download On Track for College. It is free to download. Some of the courses that will be on there will not be free. You'd have to pay into them, but everything on there right now will stay free. So you'll get the basic breakdown. You'll be able to walk through with me throughout the whole year, and that is completely free. But all of like the super breakdowns will have a cost attached to them, and you can reach out to me, apeters at mizzp.nyc. That is my email. You can reach out to me there if you are interested.
Thank you. Thank you, Amber. For those who are joining us, thank you so much for being a part of our Legacy Ed News this Thursday morning. I wish people, peace and blessings on today and tomorrow. Continue to stay safe. Please come back on next Wednesday. We usually do our webinars on Thursday at 4 p.m., but we're changing it to next Wednesday, May 19th. To celebrate Malcolm X's birthday, would have been 96. So we're doing a special webinar Wednesday at 4:30, celebrating the legacy and love of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz. So that will be next Wednesday. This Sunday, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, check out the Dr. Selma B show. The topic is diversity and creativity. And so this will be Sunday at 10 a.m. on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And then, yes, of course, we will release it here on our YouTube channel at 10:30. We have a dynamic month of May planned for our Thursday mornings. We're going to be talking to some urban farmers out of Philadelphia, doing some work around the food apartheid. I know people call it the food desert, but it really is food apartheid, when people cannot get access to food and to what we need in order to take care of ourselves and our families. So that's the end of May as well. So we have planned a really beautiful calendar. So once again, thank you for joining us. Please make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. That gives us the feedback. Also, take a look at some of the other content we have on the channel, our webinars, as well as our previous Legacy Ed News. Finally, thank you again to Amber for sharing your time and your energy with us. Please access her app and reach out to her if you are a principal and educator working with students. After school programs, if you want to be able to design something that is truly college and career readiness, this is the place that you begin with Amber Peters from Mizz P, NYC, and On Track. So from Dr. B and all of our Partner with Legacy team, we wish you again a wonderful day, and please continue to stay